Hello. So, in the last tutorial, uh, we have successfully created a database with one table, which is users. So, for this tutorial, we're going to try to show or select the data placed in the table users and display it in our web page or website. So, from back end to front end. So first, let us open our WAMP server. So I have mine already open. Just remember, it's color green, meaning it's ready. We shall open also the local host and the phpMyAdmin. Okay, so this is my phpMyAdmin, and of course my local host. So I have selected already the folder that I have created last tutorial, which is connection DB. Okay, so let's just type localhost here. Okay, so for today's lecture, we will use other text editor, which is the Atom. So this text editor will be used for the succeeding tutorials also. So what's good with Atom, like other text editor out there, is it has an intelligence feature, meaning it can sense intelligently what will be the syntax being used. For example, if you provide the opening tag, Atom will automatically provide the closing tag. So this means that our coding will be a lot easier. So let's try to use Atom. There are many other text editor with the same features, but as per experience, Atom is the simplest one to install. So other text editor exist, such as Bracket. You also have your Sublime. You also have Notepad++. But for these tutorials, we will use Atom. So the next thing to do is we will create or open, I should say, our folder. So from file, open folder. So if it's your first time, you should locate your WAMP folder, which is installed in the disk C. Search for WAMP 64, for we have installed the 64-bit version of WAMP. If we open that, we could see our www folder. Open that again, and there we could see the folders created for our exercises. In our case, we have created connection DB. So click that and click select folder. So once we selected our folder, we could see our code or our file connect.php, and we could see our code here. So we will just continue editing our previous code for this video tutorial. So our aim here is to try to retrieve or select the data stored in our database. So let's take a look at our database. So last time, we have created a database named SampleDB with one table named users. This table users has an attribute of user ID, email, and password. You are also tasked last time to input sample data according to the attributes. So for our tutorial today, I am asking you to just leave only one data or one row so that it would be more simple just for the sake of this tutorial. So again, please delete and just leave one row of data only. So I'm going to delete this one. Okay, so that will be good for now. So I'm going now to proceed to our code. Let's go back to Atom. First things first, we will delete the else statement. So let's check if it's working. Refresh. There we have it. So it is not showing anything because we did not have any error. Okay, now the first thing for us is to make sure that we are connecting to the database. So there's no problem. We have successfully connected to our database. Now we're going to replace echo. Okay, so we're going to replace echo. Instead of echo, I will use the function die. Okay, so die meaning if there was an error in connecting to our database, our script will automatically stop here. It will no longer proceed because there's no use in proceeding if we could not make a connection to our database. So connecting to the database is very important. So the next thing to do is we're going to create a variable to our database connection. So this is our database connection. I'm just going to create a variable. A variable in PHP starts with a dollar sign. So this variable will contain our database connection. So I'm going to name it link. So this is for future reference to our database connection. Okay, so link is equal to MySQL underscore connect, localhost, root, and our password. Next, we're going now to create a query. So let's create a query after the if statement. So again, since we are going to create a query, I'm going to store it in a variable named query. You could also use other variable names, but since this is somewhat standard, so I'm just using the variable name query. So what will be our query? Again, the codes placed in this or in between these codes are no longer PHP codes but SQL codes. So these are already SQL codes. So let's begin. I'm going to select all the star or the asterisk in SQL means all. Let's continue. From. Okay. So select all from our table name. So just to check what's our table name. Our table name is actually users. So I'm going to select all from our table name users. So there we have it. if you're wondering, it's standard to capitalize the keywords such as select and from in SQL, but uh, it's not necessary to capitalize it. It's just somewhat standard. You could always type it in small letters. It will work either way. So just to aid readability, again, I'm capitalizing it. So there we have it. We have finished our query. Now let's run our query by using another command, which is MySQLi underscore query, and we will just place the parameters there, which is first parameter is our variable link, which contains our connection to our database. And the second variable or parameter would be our variable query. So there we have it. Means that we're going to execute this query using in connection to our variable link, which is our connection to the database. So before we could run it, I'm going to add in our connection the name of the database. Okay, so go here, variable link is equal to MySQL connect. So we have localhost, the username, the password, plus the name of our database, which is the name of our database is sampledb. So I'm going to place here the name of our database, sampledb. So we're going now to execute our query. But for us to do it properly, I'm going to use an if statement. So okay, if MySQL query will have a result, so I will have to fetch the result. So first things first, let me save this into a variable again, since as I've said, I'm going to be expecting some result in this query. So I will store them in the variable result. Okay. Now, so since this query will be returning an array later on as our next command means MySQL fetch array. So where will it fetch array? Again, from the variable result. So there we have it. So again, this query, this line of code will result or retrieve an array. That's why we save it in the variable result. So to fetch that array, we use this command MySQL fetch array, referring to the line here stored in the variable result. The next thing is I'm going to save again the result of this line into variable row, since as we said it will return an array, fetch an array that will automatically means it will return a row. So if we will check our database users, so it will return this one probably, or actually this row will be the one being returned. Okay, so there we have it. So I have now a way in accessing the returned value of our query, which is stored in variable row. So to check that output, I'm going to print. So here's another PHP code, print R, meaning it will print a readable format for the output of variable row. So let's save it, Control S, and let's try to see the output. So the output here is actually an array. So there we have it, array 0. So we have 1. This is our user ID. Another thing is we have your email, anythingit2020@gmail.com, and we have our password, which is my password. Okay, so that is one way of checking or printing the result of our query using print R. For a more readable format, we could actually change that into echo. Okay, so let's say your email is, let's concatenate. Concatenation is that. So how do we access our array? Using our variable row. Okay, so since we're going to retrieve the email, we will place here the attribute name, which is also email. So please be careful with the spelling. If it's in uppercase, follow it. If it's in lowercase, follow it. Might refer to your table. So here, it's all in lowercase. So the other one is password, also in lowercase. That's why I'm just going to continue. Your email is, and, okay, and I am enclosing it in double quotes because this is considered as a string. And your password, okay, concatenate again using the dot or full stop, and your password, okay, let's add is, and your password is, I'm going to access my password. So again, variable row, and the attribute name, which is again password. So let's save again and check. So from this one, this is using print R. It result or showed us in an array form. Now we're going to use echo. So refresh it. So there we have it. Your email is anythingit2020@gmail.com, and your password is my password. So let's have a space here. Okay, just put a space. Also a space here and a space there. Control save, and let's check. So there we have it. It's more readable. Your email is anythingit2020@gmail.com, and your password is my password. So there we have it. For the next tutorial, we will try to do another code or another SQL command, which is let's try to add or update the data in our database.